Joining Kate Darby on the Charleston County School Board to represent the East Cooper area is Joyce Green. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with Joyce one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview later on iHeartRadio. Joyce Green, congratulations to you.
Thank you, Quintin. I appreciate that.
Anytime.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I went to bed thinking I lost and woke up that next morning and saw that I had won. So I am really excited. And I'm really ready to go and serve the children of Charleston County. I really am looking forward to trying to make a difference with our kids.
What is the biggest difference between the election and now as you being a school board member?
Reality sets in. So you think about things when you are a candidate and you don't want to take things for granted. So things you think about you'd like to see accomplished, or people you'd like to talk to, or meetings you would like to set up. I was somewhat reluctant. I made lists, but I was somewhat reluctant because I thought, well, if I don't win, then this would not be necessary. But now that I have won, I have those lists of people that I want to sit down and talk to that I think would be able to help guide me, people that I want to get information from. And so it's like the reality has set in, and you know, every now and then I pinch myself, and you know, I've been just getting congratulatory comments from so many people, and so many people seem to be excited for me, and so it's been a very interesting process.
You talk about that process. What else is on your list now that you're a Charleston County School Board member?
One of the things that's on my list is individual meetings with each of the board members. I have started to contact them. Some of them contacted me to congratulate me, and I want to sit down and get to know them a little bit better. So I feel, you know, that HR hat in me says I won't get to know them when all 9 of us are sitting around. I will get to understand their style. I've gone to enough board meetings that I really feel like I have a real good concept of who each of them each of them is. But until I sit down and talk with them one-on-one, and I want them to be able to ask me questions and relay to them, you know, what I've been saying about why I'm even interested in serving. So I want to have those one-on-one meetings with them. I want to have a one-on-one meeting, actually have one scheduled with the superintendent for this afternoon.
And you told me off camera that, hey, you know, school, you know, you're not really you never were a politician. You don't consider yourself a politician. No. And school, you know, being on the school board is not really a politician in your mind.
Right.
How would you describe the Charleston County School Board now?
I would describe them. They are an elected body.
Okay.
That I guess no, not judicial, just an elected body that has a major responsibility of overseeing a major budget, the second largest school district in the state, and is responsible to some degree, to a large degree, for educating our kids. And that is probably more important than many of the politicians' jobs in the state, as far as I'm concerned, because the education of our kids is so important. I mean, and every time I pick up the paper, there's another article about, you know, how poorly we're doing in our schools. But I was at a committee of the whole meeting on Monday. There are some positive things going on in the schools as well. And I want to make sure that we emphasize the positive, but I want to spend time looking at where we need to make some progress. And I want to concentrate. That would be my thought. I want to concentrate on putting a plan in place to address how we get those, for instance, those schools that are not performing to grade level, students that are not performing to grade level. How do we accomplish that? Because there's got to be a way for us to do that.
And I got to take you to your hometown, or your beloved Mount Pleasant. Obviously, there's talk right now about rezoning in particular areas of that particular district. What is the future of that particular area, East Cooper, when it comes to the Charleston County School District, in your mind?
There's been once or twice during the campaign that it has come up about deconsolidating the school district, and for instance, Mount Pleasant maybe being in having their own school district. I didn't respond to that because I have no information on that, have no idea whether that was just citizens thinking out loud or any of that. Mount Pleasant have some quality schools. When you look at the school district overall, we're still at the bottom. But when you look at Mount Pleasant schools, for the most part, they are very good schools. I would say I would want, not because I live there and represent them, I want all of our schools to have that reputation. Not just Mount Pleasant, but, North Charleston and West Ashley. And, I understand that how all this works, but I still say all of our children have the ability to learn. Resources obviously make a difference. So we got to look at, and I have to understand how the resources are allocated. And I want to make sure that we are doing everything we can for all of our kids. Mount Pleasant have active parents. Parents, which I admire. I would like to see a lot of that. I believe that parents should be involved with their children's education. It is not always possible for some parents to be as active as others. But I don't still think that that's a reason why that doesn't justify the difference in the quality of our schools.
And you talk about the schools and the kids. I know that you're meeting with Dr. Postwaite later today. When you have your chance to visit the schools, what particular school will you visit in your mind?
Well, there's one school I want to visit, and it's awful that I can't tell you the name of it. It's in Owendahl. It's an elementary school in Owendahl. That's one of the schools I want to visit. I want to visit Sanders Clyde.
Sure.
And, I've been to Lang. Lang, and I've done some work with a group of students they have there. I have worked with some people at Burke. So I want to get around to some of the schools that I probably want to go to Garrett. I want to go to some of those schools that somehow get singled out because maybe the students don't have the resources they need, or the students have the principal, for instance, at Sanders Clyde, there's an issue with, I'm not saying I'm going there with answers, but I want to go and maybe see what's going on there. And then I think when I have some visual, have maybe some context in which to understand what is going on there, maybe I'd be a little bit better prepared to have discussions about what we need to do.
And what should the Charleston County School District do when it comes to constituent school boards?
I'm not sure about that. Just to be totally honest with you about that, the constituent board members themselves feel like they play an important role. I have not, in all honesty, I have not tuned in specifically enough. Now, what I will say is the board with as large of a school district as we have, my initial reaction is that the constituency boards would probably help so that you have some responsibility allocated to other people and not everything relocated to the school board. I don't know, in fact, if they are functioning the way they're supposed to function. Maybe their roles need to be changed or revised. I know that report from Clemson suggested that they weren't needed. I think that's what I read in there, that maybe at least that they needed to be looked at. So that is one of the things on my list, is to look at how they actually function. I understand what they're supposed to do, but how in fact are they functioning, and see that if they are effective in carrying out their roles.
And obviously throughout the campaign, you had support from the Coalition for Kids. How would you work with them in the future?
It is my understanding, and I may be totally wrong on this, but it is my understanding that the Coalition primary role is helping to identify candidates.
Okay.
And if that is in fact their role, I'm not sure that there would be any work for me to do with them in the future.
Okay.
That is my understanding of where their role would be. They're a new organization.
Okay.
If the Coalition supported, for instance, school board members training and that kind of thing to help, with resources for school board members to attend meetings and that kind of thing, I would be very supportive of that. I mean, because obviously the district probably doesn't have a large budget for that, or if the Coalition was to set up meetings or facilitate groups getting together to help efforts that the school board was interested in, I would be, very supportive of that. But I'm not sure what their role will be. As I said, they are new. I'm not sure what their role will be beyond the identification and, looking at the candidate's background and that kind of thing.
You talk about the budget. So if you were to look at the 2019-2020 budget, what would you take in and take out as a school board member?
What would I take out as a school board member? I don't know what I would take out or put in, but one of the questions that I have is, I'm back to looking at support for the kids.
Okay.
And I want to see, I know that there's some formula for, how many dollars go to each school based on how many kids are there and that kind of stuff. I would want to see how we allocate money for the schools to have, just supplies and that kind of thing. That would be the first thing. I mean, looking at academic courses and that kind of thing, wanting to make sure that kids had access. I mean, there was some discussion at the committee of the whole meeting about putting algebra in all the schools.
Okay.
Well, why was it ever taken out? It's questions like that I don't know the answers to, but my bottom line would be, are we sure that we are putting every dollar that we possibly can into the classroom? And also looking at the whole thing about the teacher salary. I know they put something in place now for the next couple of years in the school district. Have we done as much as we can? How do we balance what we do for raises for the administration versus raises we do for teachers? Those would be the kind of questions that I would ask.
And how many more questions do you have about the teachers' pay raises right now?
I want to see the details on what they have explained as to what they've done. I want to see the details, because the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, you've locked in this raise, and I want to say it's maybe for the next 2 years. I want to make sure what happens if for some reason the school district got more money. I mean, can we go back and visit it and give the teachers more money? I want to see exactly how that structure was placed. I also want to see us do more with incentivizing the teachers. There's everybody wants a big salary, but there are other things like professional development and things like that teachers might be interested in. If we don't have money to give them for salaries, what can we do to help them know that we appreciate them, that we can't do this without them? And so I'm totally interested in doing those kinds of things. And I mean, for instance, if I have any money left from my campaign, I want to make a contribution to Teacher Supply Closet, because I think all of I think the fact that we have to have a teacher supply closet and teachers are coming out of their pockets for money shows their dedication, but it shouldn't be that way. I don't think it should be that way. I think we should be paying them appropriately.
Board member Joyce Green, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Well, thank you, and you've been just great in this process. I didn't know you before, and now I feel like you're a friend because, you try to stay on top of stuff and make sure that people understand who we are and what we are about, and let people know. I've never heard you make your, formulate any opinion. You let people make their own decisions, right. And you just ask the questions.
That's
so,
all.
yeah, I've enjoyed talking to you.
Likewise.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Have a good day.
You too.